To order. Ms. Lister, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Reverend Williams?
Here.
Dr. Mickelson?
Here.
Dr. Morrison? Dr. Bonebright?
Physically.
Mr. Munoz?
Present.
Mrs. Stewart Campbell?
Present.
Thank you. Mrs. Bowley? Not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lister. Do we have a school that's going to do our Pledge of Allegiance for us? Online, we're going to do it? Cool.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know where that school?
McClure.
McClure again. Okay, cool. Put my glasses on. Hope they don't fog up here. Dr. Morrison gave me a tip last time, but they're so. Okay, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda.
Mr. President, I move the board approve the agenda as presented.
A motion. Do we have a second? Dr. Bonebright offers a second. Any discussion? Ms. Lister, we're ready to vote. Thank you, Ms. Lister. Next is school highlights. Dr. Anderson.
One of our favorite times of the school board meeting. Under school highlights today, we have a couple of exciting highlights to mention. The first are our Above and Beyond winners and our Above and Beyond honorees. And so at this time, we will turn it over to Dr. Gray and Mrs. Hall to share a little bit about the Above and Beyond honorees. We have two this year Above and Beyond honorees, and Mrs. Hall have invited both of them to the board meeting. And as you see, the first picture is up, and I'm trusting that she is Miss Ramirez on with us? Well, if Miss Ramirez is not on, then I'll just share just a small bit, and then if our second Above and Beyond winner is on with us, then we will turn it over to them to share a little bit about what they do. Miss Ramirez, you all met her previously. She is a staff member at Highland Park High. However, during this COVID season, she has volunteered at 3 sites serving meals, first at Quincy, then at Highland Park. Then she just goes right on down to Ross. So she serves meals for about 3 hours in the course of a day, in addition to being a secretary at Highland Park. So Ms. Ramirez has been an administrative assistant there for many years and tirelessly volunteers in many aspects, primarily with seniors. But during this COVID season, she has gone truly above and beyond. It should be noted her husband is a bus driver for Topeka Metro, and she has a number of children in the school system and is just a wonderful person who has given so much of herself. So while she's not on, we want to say publicly a big thank you to being Above and Beyond winner. The other Above and Beyond winner this year, and let me make sure if they are on with us, and rather than me speaking, someone else on the line might end up speaking.
I do not see her online.
All right. Ms. Hall, I know you're on the line. Just to change up our voices, you all met this group here at from State Street, and you met them at a previous board meeting. But Mrs. Hall, do you want to speak about our other Above and Beyond winner who volunteers at State Street? I don't hear Mrs. Hall or Mr. Gray. So I will just speak a little bit. You see the write-up there for our Above and Beyond winner. Again, she was just here at a board meeting receiving her Above and Beyond award regarding her tireless
dedication as well, volunteering at State Street in the early childhood classroom. And we want to, again, publicly thank both Above and Beyond winners who have been highlighted both in the community news and in this case at a board meeting as well. As we move from there, our next highlight are our graduates. And yes, we did say graduates. Our last graduates were high school students, and now these people are just a little bit older. These graduates are our K-State cohort. We have a little special presentation. They did not get a chance to walk in their graduation because K-State did not have one. However, we want to acknowledge our teachers and school leaders who are part of the K-State cohort, and we're going to start off with the video that Dr. McDonald helped create for this group of people. Just to give you a little bit of information, it's been a cohort in place for 8 years. I'm going to turn it over to one of my right hands, and so, or to my right hand, Ms. Wallace, to share a little bit. So the K-State program, I'm a professor of practice for K-State. This program has been in place long before I ever came. Got a chance to connect with the students. Normally I drive to their graduation and celebrate them, and we do a little video and put them on Facebook. We didn't get to do that. So we wanted everyone to see the breadth of experience, everything from a third-year teacher to teachers who have taught over 20 years. With that, we do have Dr. Dole on with us. Ms. Wallace will start, turn it over to Dr. Dole. And then I think we'll ask Ms. Erickson. She is a third-year teacher who just finished the program with her master's. Mrs. Wallace.
So I've been excited to participate in this for the last 2 cohorts or 4 years. So we have graduated 4 groups of future TPS leaders, and it's really exciting to see them grow from their first class in the fall to 2 years later, and they just blossom and grow their leadership skills immensely in those 2 years.
And Dr. Dole is on with us. And then all of the K-State cohorters are on as well. And so if you do have a question for a teacher or any of that, they are also on. But Dr. Dole, our professor who has the 44 years of experience in education, do you have some words that you'd like to say about the program or the experience this year, sir?
So first of all, I'd like to congratulate the students. You keep recommending, Topeka Public Schools keep recommending your best and brightest, and they distinguish themselves as they learn about leadership. We teach our students that you can lead from wherever you are. You do not have to be a positional leader to lead. And at first they kind of look at us like we're crazy, but pretty soon that starts to take hold. And that's an important concept for us because some of our students will remain in the classroom and continue to be outstanding leaders while others will move on to positional leaderships. And then just a word about the program. It's a very, very unique collaboration. As you can tell, we have teachers or instructors from the school district and from the university. The curriculum is molded by the Topeka School District. We use resources that you think are worthwhile, and then the university adds the research base to the master's program. So we just think it's a win-win situation, and thank you for allowing K-State to be a member, and congratulations to our students.
Thank you, Dr. Dole. And Ms. Erickson, I think we said we'd have one teacher that may want to say something unless someone else is burning to share. So on the early end of teaching, Ms. Erickson, and if one teacher on the seasoned end of teaching who has several master's degrees, Ms. Foster, if you'd like to make a comment, either of you about the experience. The new cohort is starting in August, right? All right. So Mrs. Erickson at Jardine Elementary.
Thank you. I just cannot describe how amazing the experience has been through the last 2 years. I came in obviously young, so I was a second-year teacher, but I knew I wanted to further my education and was pushed through all of my professors just to do my best, and continued to learn through leadership in so many ways, just from PLCs to grading, and being pushed through experiences that I didn't know necessarily even existed, attending DCAC meetings and State Board of Education meetings and bargaining sessions. Just the overall experiences as an educational leader continue to define how we are and how we grow, and being able to work among all 501 other teachers and gaining those relationships was just an amazing experience that will continue to help me throughout the rest of my career. So I couldn't be more grateful for the support through all of Topeka Public Schools for gaining this education.
Thank you, Ms. Erickson. And Ms. Foster, did you have a quick comment you'd like to make? And we'll turn it over to the board, remembering that all the K-State graduates are on with us as they celebrate their graduation. Mrs. Foster, do you have comments you'd like to make?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Dr. Anderson, and good evening, board members. This has truly been a journey coming to Topeka, and then a journey getting a second master's degree. I had no idea this was in my future, but it has been an amazing accomplishment, and I am so glad to have had the opportunity to spend time with these precious young people. So my takeaway from the academy is that I had no idea in all of my years of teaching that supervision and leadership was so intentional. So I am walking away with the understanding that mission and vision are a leader's compass. It's their driving force. And when you connect mission and vision with that laser-like focus on curriculum and pedagogy and relationship, then student achievement is bound to happen. And that's what we're all here for. That's what we all want. That's what we all have in common. So I am extremely grateful for this opportunity.
Ask any questions of any of the K-State individuals. How many were in the class, Ms. Wallace?
There were 16 in this cohort, and we have 16 applicants for the fall cohort that we will start. No.
Can you repeat the question to make sure they heard it in the...
So the question was, is the cohort size limited? And the answer to that is no. We've advertised it in the community news and the principal update, and we've made outreaches and had orientations. And from that, we've had 16 of our staff complete applications. Correct. You graduate with a master's degree, and within 6 additional hours, which most of them will take during the summers in between, they will qualify to take their building licensure exam to be a building principal.
So several of the past cohort graduates are our current principals, so it's just a wonderful way to plan succession plan. And so currently, in fact, a number of principals currently that are sitting principals or assistant principals all came through this particular K-State cohort.
Ms. Erickson, this is Scott Mickelson. I was wondering if you could kind of share with us the time commitment that it took to complete this program. You met locally, I think, for the most part, and Dr. Dole came here. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
6
So
times a year.
we met every other Tuesday from 5 to 9. So that was just in-class work. It's been a little different since COVID has happened, but we did still meet via Zoom. The other kind of time commitments totally depended. So we had a lot of different special projects and things like surveys that took time during the school year. Or things that we had to go observe, but it was nothing that was ever too overwhelming while also trying to, you know, do our best for our students all the time. But we did meet those hours, and then we had outside assignments. So I thought it was a really good balance of being in the classroom, gaining experiences, but then also completing assignments online, if that helps answer that question.
And then for how long did this program have from?
It's a 2-year cohort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a class every 2 years? then,
Yes,
or do we have a class
we have
every year?
started. Yes, we've started a new cohort every 2 years for the last 8 years.
Okay. And Ms. Wallace, could you explain the difference between an instructional coach and a consulting teacher?
Yes, instructional coaches work at the building level, and they are in classrooms and they support teachers. They observe them, they co-teach, they co-plan, and they work really closely with building goals and the principal. A consulting teacher is part of teaching and learning, part of my department, and very similar roles, but they work district-wide. They facilitate the curriculum and assessment teams for the district. They lead all of the curriculum writing, as well as observing in classrooms across the district, and then planning and providing the professional development.
Thank you. Dr. Morrison?
I would like each or just a few of the graduates to perhaps answer this question. How do you see this helping you maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, and what do you expect to do? Is it going to just help you with your students? Are you moving on up in, or so just tell me what your plans would be.
Telling your plans and your next steps. Ms. Erickson, your lovely face is on the screen, so you might as well start in terms of your plans, and then we'll go to a couple of other people that haven't had a chance to share just yet what their plans are.
Perfect. So within the academy, you learn so much, like Dr. Dole said, not just about administrative leadership, but also leadership within the classroom. So taking from where you are and learning and growing within it. So currently I plan to continue to teach 4th grade and using appropriate PLCs and good grading practices to continue to affect our students within the classroom. I don't know where I will be in the future. I could totally see me wanting to be a vice principal or principal in the future. But currently I just plan to lead from where I'm at in 4th grade.
With that, Mrs. Bluven, I believe she's one of our K-Staters as well. Can you share what are your plans and what currently do you do as a reminder to the board?
Originally going into Leadership Academy, I just wanted to kind of hone my skills as a leader from where I am. But going forward, I'm starting to dream about possibly becoming a positional leader in the near future. So that is something I would like to do going forward. And I believe that the Academy has helped prepare me to do anything that might come its way. So I'm excited about that.
And then the last person I'll call on is Miss Dela Cruz. So really what we've called on are people that all have different jobs. And so the last one, Miss Dela Cruz, she's already in central office. She's a person that works with the math curriculum and coordinates the curriculum, and she teaches part-time at Highland Park. She is the PBS star because KSDE selected her to be on television to be a master teacher. So Miss Dela Cruz, what are you planning to do with this degree?
Yes. So, well, first of all, I am very thankful, and this is just a very amazing program, and it really helped me build that leadership capacity. And with all my, I think, affiliation with the Kansas Department of Education, that has helped me a lot. We can be a leader in a variety of capacities in different ways. So I'm planning on like maybe, well, it has solidified my leadership skills being a consulting teacher, but if given a chance, an opportunity, then I can definitely serve and maybe become a building leader and apply everything I've learned from the academy.
Thank you. Any other questions from board members of the K-Staters?
Yeah, hi, this is Melanie. I have a question. Well, first of all, congratulations, everybody. And my question is, what is the admission criteria? How are they selected?
So upon application, it includes letters of recommendation, and typically it's open to students that have 3 years or more. But the last couple of cohorts, we have allowed younger teachers to participate to gain that experience in leadership. And then there's Dr. Dole, Dr. McDonald, and myself screen the applicants. And I will tell you, I don't think we've had an academy where we have not accepted any of the applicants. It's an opportunity for them. They pay tuition for graduate credit. And so, and we also know that through the letters of recommendation and our recruitment that we're getting some of our highest quality staff.
Great, thank you.
So Dr. Bonebreak asked about scholarships available. And so K-State has offered a $1,500 scholarship one semester for the last 2 cohorts. And then we recently passed a policy that allows us to offer some scholarships moving forward.
Budget. So we have flexibility for any, not just K-State, but any staff member pending budget availability to consider scholarship opportunities.
I would also just share that all of their textbooks are provided through their tuition.
So what would an average tuition be for each?
Dr. Dole, can you speak to the tuition? Do you know that off the top of your head in terms of the average tuition, whether it's per credit hour or for the program in its entirety?
Yeah, excuse me. Yes, it's a lot, to be quite honest with you. So this is a commitment on their part in terms of time, but also dollars. Don't quote me on the exact number, but I believe the per credit graduate cost at K-State is about $370 to $380 per credit hour. And so this is a 30-hour master. And so you can do the math, and you can see that students are making quite a financial investment. We do travel to the students, so they get to stay in town. And through the, as Ms. Wallace said, we do provide the textbooks for them as well.
Dr. Dole, is this a unique situation with Topeka Public Schools, or does K-State have other affiliations that you do similar?
A really good question. We do have other relationships, but it's still pretty unique. So we run academies in Shawnee Mission, Topeka, Manhattan, Gary County, which is Junction City, Salina, and Garden City and Dodge City. So what is that? 7 or 8 locations across the state. Dodge City and Garden City actually run theirs together. So it is very unique. Just recently expanded into the Shawnee Mission School District. I also teach that academy.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for any of our academy graduates or newly minted master's students or?
This is Lalo Munoz, not necessarily a question, but just, the work involved as I learn more and more in this new position of being a teacher is incredible. And so to see a group of individuals who have taken on this additional load is amazing. So it truly is an accomplishment. So congratulations, and we look forward to you all to do much more.
Right, with our two Above and Beyond winners have joined us, and so they are actually on the screen, and we have a couple of their behalf. Warrior, or are you on the line? And if so, do you music, now that it has concluded, what was your kind of commercial? You got to Zoom, but I'd rather have that kind of music than any. So, or Miss Latimer.
Hi, this is Kathy. I have Lexi here with me.
I'm on mute, I believe.
On mute.
I'm on mute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can the board members hear us and Dr. Anderson?
Yes, Ms. Latimer, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't get my video to play. So I will go ahead and speak about Lexi. Can you close that one?
Oops.
Ms. Latimer, we can no longer hear you.
Many 50 years that she's been working at State Street. Maybe I said too many.
Well, I will, if you guys can hear me, I would like to first acknowledge Ms. Latimer. She has really embraced the technology this year within her last year. And as you can tell, with some flaws and what comes with technology, she's really embraced it and done well. So I hope by the time I'm done speaking, she will be able to join us and give her part on Lexi. But I personally want to thank Lexi for everything that she's done. She goes over and beyond, which is exactly what this award is about. Not only does she serve in our cafeteria in order to provide, the necessary food for our students, but she comes in before and after to volunteer for our students. So, there are many faces at State Street that probably deserve this award, but I can't think of one who truly deserves it based on what she's supposed to be doing in our school and how she goes over and beyond. So thank you so much, Lexi, for doing that. We appreciate you, State Street. Even though Ms. Latimer will not be with us next year, we hope that you will still come and volunteer in our school.
Oh, thank you, Doc. I wanted to just take a minute to let Lexi know that I have really watched her grow and learn as a volunteer. She's overcome many challenges that she faces, but she shows her strength. She's dependable. And through volunteering, I've seen her just become a lot stronger physically, socially, and mentally. I've been blessed to have her as a friend, and I'm so thankful for every smile that she's brought to our heart, to the children's hearts, and for every time that she's been there for me when I've needed her the most. She's so helpful, and I appreciate that she has helped the students grow and learn to the best of their ability, and the students absolutely love her. And Lexi really loves volunteering, and she's proud to be part of Topeka Public Schools. So Thank you, Lexi. I wish you a wonderful summer. God bless you for all that you've done for us.
Thank you.
And thank you for going over and beyond, Lexi. With that, Miss Latimer, how many years were you at State Street since we get this final chance to see you, Miss Latimer?
I am so blessed to say that I've been teaching 36 years total. I was at Lafayette, where Scott Magnet School is now. I started out there, even though I did my student teaching at State Street and attended State Street as a child. I did teach at Lafayette for 11 years kindergarten. And then I was pregnant with my third son, and I asked the Lord, either bring me a daughter or a job at State Street, because they were closing Lafayette at the time. I would have still be there had they not closed that school. I loved it, Lafayette. But I am so thankful that the Lord brought me a job at State Street, and I had a third son. So God was good to me there too. So 36 years total.
And Lexi, you're on the screen now. So if any board member has a question or two for Lexi, or Lexi, is there anything that you want to say?
Thank you, Ms. Latimer.
All right, thank you, Lexi. We have another Above and Beyond winner. Any other questions for board members? All right, our next Above and Beyond winner, I believe she is now on the line. Lexi, thank you again for all that you've continued to do for Topeka Public Schools. The second person, again, I mentioned earlier, was Ms. Ramirez. Mr. Ackerman, are you on the line? I've just gotten a few texts. Some people are stuck on the golf course for the foundation. Today was the golf course tournament. And so Ms. Boley and others are actually still golfing to raise money for the foundation. So Mr. Ackerman normally participates in that. So, Mr. Ackerman, are you on the line at this time?
Yeah. Hey, Miss Hall just sent me the link again while I'm trying to get home as fast as I can.
All right, we can hear you just a little bit, so you have a couple minutes. Do you want to share some items about Miss Ramirez?
Oh, I can't enough positive stuff, Miss Johnson. She absolutely, a Highland Park grad. He is so all kids. And Dr. Anderson, you know firsthand, is just what she does for kids. Not you all the sites. She went to all the sites as well for the East Side community, and she'll do whatever she has. It's boost club dinners, she'll spend money. She help kids in Highland Park, and I think every time to be on, because she's absolutely first and foremost for kids. She tries to go to their activities, to their events, whatever she can to make sure that our kids are successful. I can't say enough positive stuff about Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Ackerman. And Ms. Ramirez Johnson, welcome. And any comments that you want to say about things that you're doing in Highland Park? I said some comments about how absolutely exceptional you are. So he was a little spotty, but I think all here now know and are reminded that you serve lunches at 3 sites. You help with Booster Club. You're at Highland Park every day till late in the evening, in addition to being a mom, and we thank you for that. Mr. Ramirez, any items that you want to share with the board about why you do what you do?
First, I want to thank God. I want to thank him for giving me the strength. I'm giving back to Highland Park what they gave to me. And I worked for some great principals, but by far, Mr. Ackerman has been one of the best. And we had a great team. I'm going to miss him. He showed me a lot about being a leader. And he's a true leader himself. I think we had a great team. They just pushed me to do what was best for our kids, and Highland Park has given me they've made me who I am today. So I'm just truly grateful. Just truly grateful.
All right, and any questions for Ms. Ramirez before we conclude the section on our Above and Beyond? Ms. Ramirez, you have certainly gone above and beyond, and we appreciate and love you. Thank you. All right, that concludes the highlights that we have this evening, and we will turn over to the
Anderson. Just want to let the record reflect Ms. Bully's off the golf course from the raising money for the foundation, so not just golfing for fun, I assume. But, What'd you shoot? Good. Oh, that's great. Welcome. We just got done with school highlights where we acknowledged those educational professionals who just completed the Leadership Academy through K-State and earned a master's degree, and then 2 above and beyond recipients. So we're on to moving to the consent agenda. And one item on the consent agenda, we wanted to invite, well, let me first off take a motion to accept the, say what? Should we entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. President, I move the board approve the items of business by consent as presented and authorize the board president or superintendent to sign the special project and purchasing contracts for and on behalf of the board.
Reverend Williams offers a motion to approve. Dr. Morrison offers a second. There's one discussion item I know on that agenda that we wanted to invite Mr. Dustin Dick to participate and share an activity that's been proposed to happen at Hummer Sports Park. Is Dustin on the line?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
So Dustin, we've got an agenda item to support the Shrine football game at Hummer, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you share with us a little of those details, please?
Sure. So the Shrine Bowl, as many of you know or may not know, it moves around the state of Kansas. So they try to play in different cities. And this year in the rotation, it was due to come to Topeka. We had put in a bid previously with the Shrine Bowl to host at Hummer Sports Park. Typically, they try to pick universities where they have dorms and the availability for the teams and all to stay on campus with the dorms and then the meals there on campus. This year, with the coronavirus, Washburn has closed their dorms, and so they were slated to play at Washburn, and that wasn't going to be allowed to happen without the dorms and the campus being open through the summer. So they approached us to see if we would be willing to allow them to rent the sports park in order to still have the game. And so we've had some discussion about that. We've been in discussion with the county health officials about that. The agreement that's on there for approval is different in some ways than our standard rental agreement, in that there are stipulations in there that even though we would approve this agreement for the game and anything there to happen, that the county health officials have to be in approval of that, and we will abide by whatever guidelines or restrictions they place on hosting the game at any point in time. We, through those conversations, just today actually, when Dusty Nichols and Dr. Pizzino spoke with the county commissioners about moving into phase 3 on Monday, and part of that, there was a specific part to that plan today that they presented that was really in relation to trying to allow the Shrine Bowl to happen in Topeka. And a copy of that slide and those restrictions are what were included on the agenda here with this contract for you to review. So basically, at this point in time, the county officials are fine with us going ahead and moving forward and with the potential of being able to play the game. Probably the biggest question for them that we'll need to answer moving forward is the whether or not to have a crowd in the capacity. Their plan would be, as things progress and if they go well, that we could have a crowd of no more than 50% capacity or 2,000, whichever that is. The capacity at the football stadium at Hummer is approximately 6,500. And so we would be on the 2,000 maximum if we were to be able to allow any spectators at all. I don't know if there's questions related to that or anything else.
Mr. Dick, who's going to police the things that you're talking about? And I mean, there is the possibility of too close and all the things that are possible unless somebody is watching out and making sure they follow the guidelines.
That will be the responsibility of the Shrine Bowl as part of that. We are more or less, we're just a renter. We're just renting them a facility. They're the ones that are that have to comply with all of those requirements and police those requirements.
Is to inform them that we might not necessarily have audience participation. So this is really just allowing the young people who would normally be participating to still participate in this event, but there might not be outside speakers or audience participation. So or observers. So they were fine with that as well. So that will greatly reduce who would normally be there. We just want to make sure that young people have the outlet through the Shrine Bowl if we can allow the facility to be rented for that purpose.
This is Lalo Muniz. That was my concern, is how it was set up and the input that went about as they sort of planned this, the Shriners, is how involved was Shawnee County Health Agency. And it sounds like there's been significant input, and it also sounds like there's a lot of work that Shriners is going to have to do in order to make sure that they abide by whatever the county says is the best practices. So that was my main concern.
Yes, that's correct. In fact, before we presented a copy of the contract to the Shrine Bowl, it was reviewed by the county health officials for feedback before we gave it to them. So they had already agreed and were fine with the language that we had in there before we even presented it to the Shrine Bowl for them to sign and approve.
Okay, thank you.
There's no necessity of putting the players up, because I thought before they needed dorms and all, which is the main reason they couldn't stay at Washburn.
That's not our responsibility. We're just the renter of the football stadium. They've worked with other entities in town to house the players when they get to town. They actually practice in 2 other locations away from Topeka throughout the week. They don't arrive in Topeka until the Friday morning of that weekend.
Where is this Shriner Bowl organization located? Is it in our local area or is it in Western Kansas?
Their address is in Spring Hill, Kansas.
Concern is the distancing and following the regulations aren't always as strong in Western Kansas as they are in our local area. What we're going to receive about $3,890 for the whole thing. That keeps us clear, and like you said, we're just the renters of the facility. We'll be free and clear from any of those other concerns.
Correct. This is just a rental agreement allowing them to rent our facility. That's all we're responsible for.
And Mr. Dick, can you share a little bit about why you felt this was something that would be good to support in terms of what the Shrine Bowl is for those that may not know, and why you felt that this would be something good to bring forward?
Sure. So every year, so they pick 60 football players or 60 seniors from across the state of Kansas that get to participate. There's a lot of fundraising and some other things that are in place for the Shriners as part of this that they do to benefit other communities around the state. We have tried to host this in the past. On a normal year, they roughly bring about 6,000 people or so to town. As far as spectators, parents, all of that associated with this, that is obviously not going to be the case this year. It also puts us up for consideration in the future to host again when things are in a better place and time for us to be able to host and have large crowds of people gather, hopefully. It was important to them to play a game. They really don't care if we're able to have spectators or not. They want to have the game. They televise the game. It highlights our sports park and our district across the state. it just seemed like a good opportunity if we are able to do it, and to showcase the Topeka Public Schools a little bit to everyone across the state and some of what we have to offer.
So at this time, Mr. With that description as well, to me, one of the questions was that what does the health department think? And with their support of the various guidelines that have been described that are in place, we've explained that if we are in the appropriate phase at that time, using those guidelines without audience observation, we would be willing to rent the facility as long as they can abide by all of those things and ensure those things are met. So giving you that background, it is why it's on the consent. Currently would like to let their players know that they will be able to play, which is why they added it for this evening for your consideration.
Are there questions for Mr. Dick? I don't see any, so we have a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda. Is there any other discussion? Just one other piece I had was I'd just like to acknowledge the Westside Baptist Church for a donation that they made to support our students related to COVID-19 Safer at Home initiative. So thank you to them and their generosity. Seeing no other discussion, Ms. Lister, we're ready to vote.
You're a yay? Okay. Okay, and Mrs. Bowley is a yay? So it is unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dick. Next on the agenda is Superintendent's report and the DCAC report.
I'm going to turn this right on over to the DCAC. Unless Mr. Gowan, do we have any movement? No, kidding. I'm just keeping a little levity with the tech. DCAC, I'm going to turn it on over to them and the officers. Just want to let those that are watching that have never seen this or that don't know what DCAC is, this group gives a report every year around this time. These are all committed parents who are also interested in growing the DCAC. So if you'd like to be a member of DCAC, just go to our website and you can learn more about the group, and we encourage you to get involved. Turn it over to our officers. And I'm not sure if Ms. to be speaking, so I will ask the DCAC officers if you are at this time muted. We'll make sure that Mr. Gowan unmutes either Reverend Gruder or Ms. Collette or any of our other DCAC members. And Mrs. Routsong. Those are the two main officers that may be prepared to speak. As we prepare for the report and look through the chat and make sure that all folks can be heard, want to make sure that everyone knows that DCAC meets every month. We just met this past week and they were preparing for the report. So as Ms. Collette, the president, who is a parent at McEachran, shared the report, this year they selected the topic of enrichment as one of the items to study. So their point of study was meeting sometimes multiple times in a month, so that they could then report to the board. So this evening, here's what you're going to get, board members who are new. Hold on to your seat. They're going to be sharing with you recommendations that we encourage you to have dialogue with them, and the administration really will just be listening as well. And then things that you either have questions about, want to look more at, this is a great time to have that dialogue. Following this, at a later time, you can give administration and direction on what you'd like to see happen as some next steps as a result of their report. So this is really a listening and information gathering and discussion between you and DCAC. At this time, are we ready, Mr. Gowan, for our speakers? All right. And so with our speakers, we know that our speakers are on the line because we have a 20-page PowerPoint, and anyone that makes a 20-page PowerPoint is on the line. So we're going to give it just a second to make sure that our DCAC team members are pulled up.
I traded an email or two with Mr. Outsong the last couple of days as I reviewed this document, so I think she was. If you click down the bottom, Mike, it might look at the very bottom. The bottom of your screen there, they're like a download.
All right. We're going to make sure that the DCAC members know to patch on in virtually. And as they're patching on in virtually, we will mention just two final items. It really is a bit of the DCAC report. I'll share with you. One item that they have chosen to include and to take on is broadband. So the broadband initiative, board members, we want you to know that the very next board meeting, we're going to be asking for during that retreat time to talk a little bit about next year, also to talk a little bit about this year and your visioning and what you'd like to see for the future. Broadband has come up from you, but broadband also came up from DCAC. So at the next DCAC, which is the first week in July, they actually will be sharing a little bit about broadband, and Gina Millsap, who is over the Shawnee County Library, will be their guest speaker. So if you're someone that wants to know about the broadband initiative in Topeka, that's a great time. We do also want to thank and acknowledge Jeremy Nguyen, who normally is organizing ShareFest around this time of the year. He was with us at the last meeting for the clergy appreciation. He has agreed to take on broadband as an advocate for the district, and he is currently connecting with a variety of people, and perhaps not broadband, but Wi-Fi/broadband, to help us ensure that we have some level of connectivity for next year. So we want to thank Pastor Nguyen, who's at Fellowship Church, who this year could not take on ShareFest. So in lieu of that, he has offered to see about organizing a group to take on some initiatives that might best help us. The second initiative that they plan to take on, in addition to broadband, since DCAC will be talking about enrichment, is the initiative of school uniforms for the college prep students and purchasing all of them for all of the students at one particular school. And so we're excited about that occurring for Lowman Hill Elementary. They are looking into that and in conversation with Mr. Robbins about their ability to do that, since they can't spend money on ShareFest, which is what all of the churches would normally be doing. On that note, as the DCAC members are just hopping on the line right now, we do want to get ready to turn it on over to them. We do again want to remind our families in being part of DCAC, you can go to our website, but the best thing is to tell your principal, because your principal will submit the name to DCAC. Now, instead of music as a commercial, this time you got me as a commercial, which is even better than the music. At this, we do have our DCAC team on the line. So I'll turn it over to the officers.
So just as we wait a moment, when I was a parent of I still am a parent. When my son was in second grade at Whitson, we were approached by the PTO president to be, hey, we need somebody to be on our DCAC representative. So that's how I got my introduction to Topeka Public Schools and this building and leadership of the district. And served on DCAC with Reverend Williams actually for several years together. Wrote several of these reports ourselves. One of them was school consolidation. Yeah, we worked on school consolidation, and ultimately we adopted many of the initiatives we put out there. Maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, probably, at least, probably longer than that actually. So, nonetheless, DCAC is where some of us got introduced to Topeka Public Schools more than just being a parent.
We do want to mention that several of the DCAC members share that they're logging in, but some of them have some connectivity issues themselves, so they're having a hard time getting in. The couple of speakers for this evening. But while we do have this brief moment, when we're at DCAC, a lot of what we talk about is communication and how to get information out. And we did mention, and I neglected to mention it in our highlight, but I do see she is also on the line. Our communications team, Dr. Gray, has added to that team, and earlier, about 2 or 3 months ago, we hired a K-State grad who just graduated in May. This was her first week. In fact, she just left the building, but she's on the team. I did mention to her, since much of her work will be filming, reporting, the community news related matters that we are doing now with Ms. Miller, Mrs. Hackett, our new communication specialist, who is truly a dynamo, is on the line. We're just going to pull her up. So when you're seeing the DCAC items being updated on the website, right now, tonight, she did the equity website, and in terms of updating that, it all came from Ms. Hackett, who started on Monday. Is Ms. Hackett on the line right now? She said she was going to give a quick hello if she could at the end of highlights, and I sure forgot to do that. There you go. Ms. Hackett, you're still here in this building?
I
right?
am still here.
Okay. I thought that you went home and were remote. So Ms. Hackett, just really quickly and briefly, you just want to just share just a quick statement about who you are and where you graduated from and what you're working on. It's her 4th day of work, and you're still here 2 or 3 hours later.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you guys so much for having me. My name is Molly Hackett. I am the newest member to the communications team here at the Burnett Center. I'm very thankful for this opportunity and the leadership that Dr. Gray, Dr. Anderson, and Ms. Hall have already shown so far in the last 4 days. I just finished from K-State, like Dr. Gray said, or Dr. Anderson, sorry. And coming into a job that I have support and that people trust me is a very important thing to me. And I'm very excited for the work that I've already done, but I am excited for the work that I will continue to get to do this upcoming year. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for staying. I assume you're still working on webpage stuff and other videos. Thank you so much for staying this evening, and we appreciate having you. I believe her mother was a TPS teacher, I believe, or there's a connection with TPS in many different ways through Ms. Hackett, and we love bringing our young people back. Thank you, Ms. Hackett.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. Have a great night.
Have a good evening. And now we will turn it over, I believe, to the officers if they can come on. And if they cannot come on, then we're just going to walk on through. I know that they feel strongly about sharing their own report, but we will at least walk through the major recommendations in terms of that recommendation page. And if it's okay with the board members, we'll invite them back at the very next board meeting. The recommendation page, you have their full slideshow. I understand many of you shared that you may not have had the slideshow itself. So we're going to make sure that you have the report and slideshow to read over before the very next board meeting. But the 3 big areas that they talked about in terms of enrichment are having multiple channels and opportunities for kids across the district, consistency and some rotation in some of the things we do as it relates to programs such as AVID and other programs. They certainly wanted to see a larger spread of that. Again, I know these parents worked all year and they want to talk about these items, so I'm going to stop there and then mention the final 3 items and then close on out and put this back on the agenda for the next time. Professional development, summer enrichment, and PTO partnerships were also recommendations that they have as it relates to more professional development, broader summer enrichment, and making sure that our PTOs have greater involvement. Some schools have no representation on DCAC. That is concerning, and being able to partner more with what we're doing overall. On that note, as we conclude, Mr. Gowan, unless we have someone there, I'm going to conclude with the last slide. Then we're going to go ahead and wrap this part on up and turn it over to our board.
So grant partnerships, Avid, I already mentioned, and decreasing class size were other recommendations. And remember that they did their research by comparing us to other districts and looking at research and what were best practices, in addition to giving surveys to our own folks. Access, online enrichment, and less emphasis on testing were other pieces. On that end, I'm going to stop with just those 9 or so big chunks of recommendations that you can expect to hear more about at the next board meeting. We'll turn it over to our board members and we'll let DCAC know that we'll have them at the next board meeting.
Dr. Anderson. Next on the agenda is an action item to, we'll go to the discussion item since they're both the same kind of discussion and an action. And discussion item is to change the meeting time of next board meeting, June 18th, to start at 4:30. The intent of this meeting, I think, is to do board training that we initially set out to do right when COVID hit and the mandate to not meet was in place. And so this will be more of a board training meeting rather than a typical board meeting. Is that right, Dr. Anderson?
That is correct. The board training and retreat, we'll have a piece revisioning. We'll have a little bit for DCAC, and that's a great jump off of talking about what do you want to see for the future. And then we'll do a little bit of communications and finance in that time frame. So a couple of hours will be about the amount of time we'll need.
Okay, and then we'll start at the meeting at 4:30. So is there any other discussion or anybody that cannot make a 4:30 start time on June 18th?
So with going to level 3, is that going to make a difference in what we're doing here?
Unless the board members would like a difference, no. Board members who want to come will be invited. Board members who like to just be directly will be able to be here. And we live again and allow for Zoom to be the area. This is really a conversation amongst board members primarily. Watch it live as you have an internal conversation. And we'll be able to join again by video.
I just think that we have a lot of trouble with the situation, and as much as we can do this as normal as we can be, I think is a good idea. If we're going to 30 people at a time, I mean, we can certainly limit the size, but if we're all together, it for me, and I'm old, but I do like to see people's faces, and I don't like them coming and going, and so that's my opinion.
I would concur, and I think some sort of a hybrid would be ideal where the presenters might be able to come speak, and as opposed to fiddling around trying to get them to come, trying to get them online and struggling to do that a little bit. Not to disparage our efforts, because I know it takes a lot of logistical coordination to try to make this work, but it just seems like we're a little haphazard.
You might choose to join virtually, but if they would like to come directly, then we'll make sure to stay under the group size and allow them to come, and we'll still have this same out. And then outside of DCAC, it's really just the board talking amongst yourself.
For the next meeting anyway. So, you know, and I would, to your point, if the DCAC's representatives are not comfortable coming, then we could work out alternative methods. But if they are comfortable, then I think inviting the 2 or 3 that would present may be ideal. So any other discussion on moving the meeting time on June 18th to 4:30?
No, I'm fine with the 4:30.
Thank you, Mr. Munoz. Mr. Campbell, are you good with it too? I guess we'll vote for it, I guess, is the next action item. So I'll entertain a motion to start the next board meeting at 4:30. Reverend Williams offers a motion and Dr. Brombrick seconds. Any other discussion? I guess we've already discussed it. So let's we're ready to vote. Thank you, Ms. Lister. Next on the agenda is board member comments. Ms. Boley, do you have anything for the good of the cause tonight?
I'm sorry I was late. I apologize. It was hard to get them to take me back to my car. They were competitive. I had a really good time this afternoon. It looked like we had a good turnout, and a lot of carts were behind us and in front of us as well. So we had a good time out there. It was the first time I've done that, and it was really well organized and put together. So kudos to the Topeka Foundation and that organization. I want to thank the principals. I know that they just started their summer break, and for all the efforts they put in at the end of this year. And I'm real excited about the summer lunch program, and it's already up and running. And it looks like it needs some volunteers. So if anybody wants to volunteer, there's a website up that gives you an opportunity to do that if you have any time for that. So again, I apologize for being late, and it's good to see you all.
Dr. Morrison.
Just to let you all know, I attended virtually the Downtown Topeka Inc. Board meeting, which was last Thursday. And I think someone that we and Dr. Anderson and I both have sat through Mr. Feander's well, and everybody's ideas. He's not the only one, but he's in charge of what to do with downtown Topeka. And the reason that we ought to be vocal in that is because there'll be tax consequences which can affect our kids. And we've looked at this in another aspect before, and that's why I'm sitting on that particular as an ex officio member, to just, things aren't moving very much now with COVID-19, so I don't think we need a real big explanation. But once things start moving, it's important that we have our say in what's going on, because it will affect our budget.
Reverend Williams. Mr. Munoz, anything for tonight?
Yes, thank you. I volunteered for a bit over at Chase, giving out food, and so I think that we provide a really important service to our kids and to the families in 501 who struggle during summers, and especially in this economic environment, with making sure that we do what we can and play a part in reducing hunger in our communities. So I was fortunate and grateful. If anyone's looking for things to do, please consider volunteering. It's a much needed effort, and it's a great cause, and it's just a great thing to do. Congratulations again to the graduates, that cohort. I think it's really important to invest in our staff and to invest in teachers who are willing to push themselves and to take on more work, and that commitment. I think that bodes well for us, not just in terms of the quality of our staff, but as well as for our future and helping our teachers grow into and imagine themselves in a larger role in the future. So I'm proud of them, as well as Lexi and Ms. Ramirez Johnson. Congratulations to all that you all do. A lot of the work and a lot of the excellence that we have is because of individuals like them. The last thing I'll mention is regarding the what's on everybody's mind in terms of Black Lives Matters. I think it's times of difficulties. It's an opportunity for us. It's a learning opportunity, and especially for students who are seeing this, whether we know it or not. I know that I'm having discussions with my 3 kids about what it means and about its significance, and it's an opportunity for us to to talk with our young people and to help mentor them and to help talk to them about ways and that they can, work on this particular issue and how to make real progress. It's not anything immediate, it's long term, but I think it's needed. And so other than that, one last thing is my kids are, along with my wife, have taken part in that virtual learning, and it's been I've been very impressed with my kids who are learning about programming, and my daughter who's learning about math by remodeling a house and all of the expenses to go along with that. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I hope that as many parents as possible look into that virtual learning as ways to help students keep them engaged, keep them thinking and using those skills that they've gained so that when they come back in August, that they're ready and raring to go. So thank you.
Stuart Campbell.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to say also my children are attending some of the summer virtual camps, and they're excellent. My children are really enjoying them, getting a lot out of them. So thank you, TPS, for offering this summer opportunity for them. Tomorrow, I will be attending a nationwide webinar, and it's offered to school board members and other educators about planning for the reopening of schools in the fall. So I just wanted to let you know I'll be attending that. And in that line of thinking, I would like to say that as we contemplate the logistics of opening our schools in the fall, with the safety of our staff and our students, of course, being the #1 concern, that it makes, the more I think about it, it really makes sense to me to start a discussion of possibly establishing a balanced calendar year, formerly known as year-round school, but I'm going to call it balanced calendar year. So for example, offering 3 60-day academic sessions and then having a 20-day break. So all in all, it would still equal the required 180 days. But this has several advantages. One, maximizing the use of our space, decreasing student class size, which allows for more physical distance, decreasing student and teacher burnout, decreasing the loss of learning that happened, the summer slide that happens during the 10-week break during the summer. Also just our schools being open, because I think of all the services that we provide our students, from meals to mental health services to health services. And so just during this time of COVID-19, I think it's important that we start a serious discussion of possibly establishing such a balanced year calendar. I'm sure there are disadvantages, and there's probably some people out there like, no, stop talking like that, Melanie. Of course, not everyone's going to agree with me, but I know there's some disadvantages, but I think during this pandemic, that the advantages really outweigh the disadvantages. So I just encourage more discussion about this later on. That's it. Thank you.
I think the DCAC studied this topic one year. I don't know if we can find that report and distribute that. Is that possible, Ms. Lister? Do you know? I think it's
Report they've done over their 40, I think, years. So we will pull that and send that to you all, scan it in, and get it to you next week.
That'd be great. That is appropriate given the timeliness of this. Ms. Campbell, I was thinking about the same topic last night. My wife and I were talking how to use social distance, and maybe year-round school may be part of the solution. So,
EA's been opposed to it, I understand, several years. And do we know why they've been opposed to it?
No, I don't. There's some logistical issues that would have to, and the paradigm of history would have to change, obviously, but
yeah, it would have to be negotiated with
absolutely, yeah.
with NEA. That's the big deal.
Right. Well, it would still, of course, be 180 days, the same. Yeah, it would be negotiated. So the way I see it, I don't see it as more work. It just redistributing the calendar, redistributing the workload. We just all need to adapt to our situation.
Related to that, Mr. Cam, I think, a discussion of what does, school look like in the fall if we do come back, and how do you social distance and all that kind of stuff, I think is worthy of a topic of discussion, and kind of what's the State Department looking like promoting, and, kind of that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if that's been made public yet or not, but would certainly welcome that
The
discussion.
State Department's deciding, will be letting all superintendents know by July 10th. However, at the next board meeting, we do have a proposed hybrid plan and 3 models from which we could use. So whatever they do propose, we should be able to fit any one of those models into that proposal.
Great.
We do have 2 staff members, and now Ms. Wallace, also on some of those planning and discussions with KSDE. So we'll be prepared at the next meeting to share a little bit at that time, but July 10th is when we will know officially. And part of knowing at that time is some have shared they thought that was late. We don't believe that's too late, because we'll be prepared in advance. But because everything is changing and the phases are changing, and what we learn about the disease, this will allow them, according to the commissioner, to really know where we are at that point. And that's the latest possible date, July 10th.
Great, thank you. The only comment I have or a couple comments is I'd also like to share my congratulations to the new Master's in Building Educational Leadership. I think the hidden benefit is we have 16 people who got together every other week for an extended period of time, and they form friendships and bonds, and they will be a resource for one another going forward in their educational career, whether it's hopefully in Topeka Public Schools, but they will be a resource for guidance and advice and sounding board that I think is a hidden benefit of that. I also see Ms. Ramirez Jennings are out and about around different school functions, and it's nice to put a name with a face. I see her a lot of things, and I'm pleased that we were able to honor her tonight. And finally, just to be remiss to just note that one of the deciding factors when we moved to Topeka 23 years ago was school district. And we wanted a school district that was diverse, where kids would be exposed to diversity. And that's why we chose to live within the boundaries of Topeka Public Schools. And as we face the challenges nationwide that are taking place, and I'm grateful that my children were able to, in their educational experiences, experience students of diversity, and it makes them better citizens and understand the world we live in better, I think. So I'm just grateful for that. And Topeka Public Schools is part of that. So with that, we'll adjourn.